Hey, good morning, Carolina Weather Authority. Meteorologist Joshua Nagelberg here. Hope you guys are making the best of your weekend. I'm going to do something a little bit different this morning. We have talked about the rainy pattern and the coastal drenching that's ongoing for the next several days, and I'm not going to cut a video about that today. What I'd like for you to do is just sit down with me and listen for just a few minutes. I want to tell you a little bit more about my story and why I'm with Carolina Weather Authority. So grab yourself a nice cold beverage, kick back, maybe a cup of coffee, and just relax. So my story is, look, I love the weather from a very young age. I was the weird kid in school who would track all the hurricanes. I would race home off the bus and turn on the Weather Channel when I was a young kid because me and the Weather Channel are roughly the same age. And I lived in Louisiana, so we definitely were prone to hurricanes and a lot of severe weather. So Hurricane Andrew changed my life. I was about 10 years old and I was interested in the weather. I liked weather maps. I used to read the paper every afternoon and look at the maps that were made by some of the bigger companies out there. And I started journaling and keeping track of all the cool weather that would affect us. And for most 9, 10-year-olds, that would be kind of deemed as different or strange or unique. You put your label on it, whatever you'd like. But I would go to school every day and, kind of daydream in class. And the teachers would ask me questions, and I would just be sitting here making up weather maps for the next day. So I wasn't the best student, if I could be honest with you guys. But Andrew hit during the first week of my middle school class. I was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I had relatives in Miami that were already hit by Hurricane Andrew, and it did something pretty surprising. It was one of those storms that caught a lot of folks off guard because it was already the second, third, fourth week of August, and a storm that was expected to kind of sit over the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and fall apart, which just about did. And then all of a sudden it made a left turn, and that had a lot of forecasters scratching their heads because this is before social media and people sharing out European models and GFS models. This is back in the day when you would take that map and throw it up on the wall and say, this is what I think might happen. And, the solutions were very wildly out there. So long story short, Andrew became a beast east of the Bahamas. What was a very quiet hurricane season ended up being a very disastrous one for both South Florida and then for my family in Louisiana. So I knew I was going to be a meteorologist after that, and grew up in high school, got on track to go to college, went up to Penn State, which had a great reputation for meteorology, just a lot of great meteorologists out of that school. And I was familiar with Pennsylvania, having family that had gone to school up there and living up in that area. And then after that, I stuck on and worked. I was going to go into the Air Force. That didn't really work out for me. Let's just say I didn't meet the standards of somebody who was going to be subordinate. How's that sound? I was kind of a hothead. I said some stupid stuff when I was a teenager, college kid. Really stupid stuff, like getting me kicked out of the Air Force kind of stuff. So I worked for a large company up in Pennsylvania, and learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my tolerance for shift work and not getting paid a whole lot and trying to pay off my bills and student loans. Not even having a car for a while, just walking and riding my bike everywhere while people would drive past me and kind of give me that look because I understood the value of delayed gratification. So I worked for that company for 8 years. That's where I met Mike Griffith, and we became good friends, and he and I are roughly the same age. Stayed in touch with Mike and saw what he was putting together with East Coast Weather Authority. Well, that company didn't quite work out for me because the leadership was too busy using their dollar bills to try and put the Weather Service out of business, put the government out of business, and contribute to one political party rather than paying its hard-working meteorologists what they really deserved, if I can just be frank with you. So I got myself in with just people that were very good people, wonderful meteorologists, but were very disgruntled, and I let that feed off of my attitude at the place and just treated people poorly, used some language maybe I shouldn't be using now that I'm a father, and basically just said, look, screw you guys, if I could be honest. So I was very fortunate that a former colleague of mine had notified me that in Raleigh there was a small company that was looking for a forecaster that was going to pay pretty well, and I didn't ask him anything about it. I just said, yes, here's my resume. So I got down and worked for that company for a year. They were not doing well at all and went out of business. Actually, 2 of their forecasters have moved on or are doing really well, working with Greg Fischel now. So it's great to see Greg doing really well and being kind of out of the public eye. But Greg's a wonderful guy, by the way, as were these 2 gentlemen. So they're all working and doing well. But that company folded, and I found myself wanting just a little bit more. So I changed my life around, got married. Between you and me, I was not a very spiritual person. Let's just say I am now, and I'm not here to tell you about that. But I decided to just put some faith in people and to get around people who lifted me up and not people who just, dragged me down. So I learned that the reason I was not happy with life is that I'm an entrepreneur by heart. I'm somebody who loves to take some risks, and the people that I was around weren't. And that can lead to a lot of frustration and misunderstanding. So you know what? I learned to talk to people and listen to people and their stories and not just have an agenda or try to be the best at everything. Because quite honestly, that doesn't really get you anywhere in life. I would rather, and I've learned this now in maybe the last 7 or 8 years, rather than try to be the best, find people who need some guidance and help them find the best. So long story short, I've been working, at least up until earlier this year, was working as a meteorologist, helping out with golf tournaments and making some really rough calls and some gutsy calls, maybe helping out businesses that needed weather warning, doing anything from sales to just listening to people and helping them save lives, and to me, just a lot more rewarding, but have gone off on a different path. So back when Hurricane Florence was a threat to North Carolina, I decided to stop posting everything to my personal Facebook and open up a group called Josh's Weather Page, which has grown to over 1,500 people. And what I was doing there was keeping my professional and my private posts separate, because we all know what personal, private Facebook is looking like these days. I mean, it's just, it's good and bad, let's put it that way. So I started that group. People started inviting each other to it. Mike Griffith and I stayed in touch, of course. I love Mike, and he's, of course, he's not going to say he's a North Carolinian because he's in Fort Mill, but close enough, right? He lives here. He's been here for a while. Over the last couple of years, I've kind of grown up my reach of people who really just wanted the most accurate weather that I could possibly give them, or for me to just share other people's opinions, because I've got a family and don't have all day to be on Facebook. So Mike approached me, and we're in a spot where COVID has changed how we do business and how much time we have to be with our families or for our employers. And Carolina Weather Authority has taken off and done really well, but needing a little bit of injection and maybe a few fresh faces. So I was happy to join Mike right before Labor Day, and I'm really happy to be with you guys. Let me tell you about Carolina Weather Authority real quick. We're a team of meteorologists and people that are everyday people. We are not people who are going for clickbait. We're not people who maybe are pastors at our church and then have a subscription model to actually hear more. And then what we do is we charge them for the 10-day European model. We don't do any of that mess. We don't threaten to sue competitors that don't agree. We're not people who have people subscribe to a newsletter and follow them on YouTube and call them sick freaks and hurl insults at them if they don't agree. And I'm saying that because there are people out there doing that. We're not skinny teenage kids who claim to be meteorologists who are copying everybody else's page and claiming it as theirs and, getting in with a TV station. We're none of that. We're not people that post websites that require you to, look at every spaghetti model, because quite honestly, a drunk donkey could do that. That's not who we are. And look, I'm not trying to insult any of these people, but I am going to tell you that's not who we are. So the direction that Carolina Weather Authority is going is bringing you some more advanced stories and putting together some great minds and collaborating and being everyday people, just telling you exactly what we believe is going to happen, and to keep our business afloat. And really, if you want to call it a business, we're expanding our YouTube reach, but we're also looking for some sponsors, some businesses that maybe are doing okay from COVID. I know we all kind of took a hit, and we still are, but maybe just want to build their reach to maybe 20-some thousand people who are really relying on us to keep them posted on the weather, especially with the hurricane season we've got coming up here, and we do trust that. We're not the kind of people that can work for a startup and flex their muscles and get on Fox News every day and just spew meteorology at people. We want to be people just like you and help you understand what's going on in the weather world, and if we can, save your lives. We're not going to post every watch and warning out there. That's what the National Weather Service is really good at. But we will inject kind of our meteorological expertise into it and tell it what it actually means to you. So my goal this year is to help you understand what's going on with the weather and try to keep things kind of as simple as I can without blasting you constantly with nonsense without sharing everybody else's ideas and without trying to kill you with information, because what we see in the weather world on our videos may not make a lot of sense to you. I can tell you it's going to rain at the beach for the next several days. That's great, but for the people who do live at the beach, when there's the threat of a major hurricane, which we believe there will be this fall or late summer, that's where you need to be following us with Carolina Weather Authority. So we're asking your help. If you know of anybody who owns maybe a small or medium-sized business that wants to build their reach, we're not asking for a lot of their money, but we want to thrive our business and help people make informed decisions. So please have them reach out to us, and we'll do the same. We'll ask around, of course, and we can build a great partnership and help us all get through these difficult times together. So anyway, I'm signing off. Rather than doing the video on the weather, you guys know it's going to rain this weekend. Let's just keep in touch and be real with each other. We are going to try and respond to your messages as much as we can. Our subscribers are going to get a newsletter every week, and that should help you make a lot more decisions. And please consider doing that as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Carolina Weather Authority. And if there's any feedback you'd like to give any of us about our videos, go ahead and be frank with us. Maybe private inbox us. If you don't like something or think that I'm boring or I stink or whatever, please tell me. I mean, I'm thick-skinned. I can handle it. I know where I'm going when I die. Let's put it that way. That's all I care about. All right, folks. Y'all have a wonderful weekend, and I enjoyed chatting with you today.